Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitney and today I'm going to show y'all an updated brow routine. So this is how I like to do my eyebrows, nice bold brow. I'm going to show you the products, I'm going to show you how I outline them, how I fill them in, how I get this shape, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. Before we get into it, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss any of my future videos, and let's just jump into it. So I wanted to show you all the products that I use for my brows. I don't just use one product. I usually use a combination of products, which is like my whole mantra for makeup. I always mix and match and use different things for everything basically on my face. Right now what I'm using is a pomade. This is in the Lancome packaging, but it's actually the Benefit Ka-Brow pomade that was in a little mini jar, and I just scooped it out and put it into this jar so it was easier to access. This is in the shade number 3, which is pretty good for my brow hair, but it's a little light because I did just dye my hair this darker brown color when I got my extensions put in, so it's a little lighter, but mixed with the pencil, and sometimes I do put a powder in as well. It usually works out in the end. The pencil that I'm using right now is from Ofra. It's just this universal brow pencil. It's not my favorite. It needs to be sharpened. It's not my favorite. It's a little waxy, but I use a pencil to outline my brows and then the pomade to fill them in. So it's working for now. This is in my project Use It Up, so I am going to use it today to show you guys, but you can use any brow pencil or pomade that you have that you enjoy using. For tools, I'm using a spoolie. This is just an e.l.f. spoolie. It's like $1 and it works just fine. I cleaned this one, but I am in need. I think I'm going to be repurchasing it pretty soon because I can only clean it so much. It gets kind of gunky, and for $1, I mean, I can just repurchase it. It's no big deal, but a good spoolie is definitely a good thing to have. And then this is the pomade brush that I'm going to be using. This is the Essence Eyebrow Brush. And it's just a nice angled brush. It's a little bit thicker than a typical eyebrow brush. I think eyebrow brushes are very, very thin usually. So this one's a little bit thicker, but it's not a problem for me because I have thicker brows already. So to fill them in is not a big deal for me. The first thing that I'm going to do when I start my eyebrows is I want to make sure that they are brushed through with my spoolie. So I'm just going to take it and brush them. I like to brush my brow hairs up in the front and then kind of back towards my hairline. Just like that. And then I take my brow pencil, which I sharpened, and I go in and I start on the bottom and I just outline my natural brow, and then in the middle, because this is where I have a lot of sparseness, I go in and add length to the middle of my brow. So I kind of start where my natural brow is, and I just line basically my natural brow. Now if you have sparseness and you need to create brow, or you need to fill in extra areas or create an arch or create a bottom, then you might want to use a thinner pencil than this. This one's pretty thick. But for me, if you have a lot of brows, then something like this works perfect. So just tracing that natural brow, and then you have your bottom, and then I go in on the top and I kind of angle this up a little bit because I want to create an arch, because you can see I have so much sparse area right here. There's no hairs, but I want to create a slight arch, so I kind of angle this upward, and then when I get to the peak of the brow, I'm going to start coming down, and I'm literally just sculpting out what I want my eyebrow to look like. So there we go. We kind of have a little brow. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that I look like a crazy person with outlined brows but not filled in brows, the next step that I do is to go in with the brow pomade. So this is, like I said, the Ka-Brow pomade in number 3 from Benefit, and I just take my brush and I kind of dip it in there, and then how I have that free space, I like dab it on that free space so that way it really gets into my brush. So it's just a little bit of product. It looks kind of gross, but it's really in the brush. So then I go in and I just literally fill in the brow. Now some people like a more natural brow, and to achieve that you would use like a smaller, like a Brow Wiz or a smaller, thinner pencil to create hair-like strokes. But I have always enjoyed a more bold brow. So to fill it in with the pomade for me is just, it just works out better because I have always enjoyed a more bold brow. I just fill it in like this. It takes a couple of seconds, and as you can see now, all the sparseness, all of the areas where I had no hair before are filled in. The front of the brow still needs to be completed, but for the most part the rest of the brow is basically done. So I'm just going to fill in this side as well. Now the only thing I don't like with a pomade, and because I do have so much natural brow hair, is that if you can tell, it's pushing my natural brows down, almost like gluing them to my face. So when it does that, I have to make sure that I really go in and spoolie out the product, because I don't want my natural brows to look like they've been glued down. Once I'm done with the pomade, I go in with the spoolie and spoolie out the brows really well. This helps to blend the product, and it helps to get those brow hairs nice and fluffy again so that it doesn't look like I have so much product in my brows. I like to actually push the pomade into, like, past my brow hairs onto the skin, so that way it gets rid of all the sparse areas. Even when I spoolie them out, I won't have all that sparseness. So let me just show you guys. So I kind of go backwards in the opposite, and you can tell my brow hairs are getting crazy because I want to fluff them up again, and I do this very gently. But you can see that even though I'm brushing them this way, all the sparse areas are basically gone. So then I brush them up in the front, and then I'm kind of angling it towards my hairline very gently, because you don't want to remove the product. You just want to spoolie it through so that way it looks a little more natural. Getting all those brow hairs lifted. Making sure that, see, on this side I have a little more sparseness, but I think my brow hairs actually cover that. So we'll see once I spoolie it out. Then you can kind of see too if you have any additional areas that you need to go in and fill in with product. But like for me, you can tell, so I have a little sparse area right here, but I think I can smooth that out, yeah, with my natural brows. And then, because the most coverage you can get with your natural brows, the better. You know, if you can't, then that's when you use the products. But if you can get the coverage with your natural brows, then that's the way to go, in my opinion. Obviously, my natural brows, I have none in the front, and that is from years of just tweezing and waxing and making them too thin. And, you know, in the 90s when no brows was the thing. And so, anyway, I still do wax my eyebrows, but I don't wax them. I just don't get a lot of growth here. I get a lot of growth. Well, let me not flip you guys off. I get a lot of growth down here, like a unibrow, but it's not enough to really save the brows in the front. So when I wax my brows, I usually take my finger and like right here, and you can kind of tell that's where they're at, you know, and that from here out, I will wax the center part. I keep the rest, but there's not a lot there. If you guys want an updated how I wax my eyebrows at home routine, let me know. It's pretty much the same, but it's a little bit different than my one from a few years ago. But if y'all would like that, just let me know. So to finish up the brows, I like to have a more structured, like I said, I like to have a more structured brows. So I basically just go in and complete the brow right there and kind of fill it in lightly. And that looks crazy. Why does it look so crazy? And sometimes they look like, I feel like this one is lower than this one. So sometimes I'll just have to go in and give it a little more oomph like that. And I think that looks a little bit better. And eyebrows are tricky when you don't have the hair in the front, or if you don't have a lot of hair in the arch, creating those dimensions of a brow can be very tricky. And sometimes they get crazy looking. So right now they look a little crazy. I'm going to go in and spoolie again. And spooling just helps to get rid of any excess product. It helps to blend the product a little bit better than normal. And so for this, because I have no brows here, I'm going to go in actually with my pomade. Because it's a cooler tone than the pencil. And I'm just going to give that one little layover in the front. I hope y'all can see, because I'm not looking at the viewfinder, how that just kind of makes it more natural. Let me quote that, natural looking. Because we all know that these are not natural brows. Everybody knows that. Everybody looking at me knows that these are not my natural brows. I just give it one last spoolie. And that's it for these brows. So the reason that I like the Ka-Brow is because it sets and it doesn't go anywhere. With other pomades, I've had to use powders to set over them because the pomade itself looks a little shiny and greasy. Whereas this just sets down. If you can see, I'm going to move in. Don't mind my friend right here. That popped up, I think, yesterday. So it just looks natural, and it doesn't look oily, it doesn't look greasy, it doesn't look shiny. It just is there, and that's it. So I really like the Ka-Brow pomade. It doesn't move. It's a good color for me. Like I said, it's slightly lighter than my natural hair color, but it works. So every now and then I might have to clean up my brows. I usually don't because I'm pretty precise when I'm filling them in, but I'll just take a flat concealer brush like this one with nothing on it, and if I need to, I'll just clean up the bottoms or the tops or the middle, wherever I need to. This stuff down here is really just a waxing issue. That's some extra hair that I have that I need to wax off, but other than that, if I need to clean up, I will. When you're doing your brows at home, don't stress out. They're not meant to be exactly the same. They're sisters, not twins. They're cousins, not sisters, whatever. And do your brows how you like to do them. This is how I like to do my brows. A bold brow most days. If this is not how you enjoy doing your brows, that's fine. But this is how I enjoy doing my brows. And do them the way I want to do them. And I encourage you to do your brows the way you want to do them. And don't worry about if someone else is saying, oh, your brows are too much or whatever. I really like them like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And let me know what your favorite brow products are. I'd love to try some different things. You know, pomades and pencils with different brands. I'd love to know. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.